So for CSI, they now have the participation policy, which is worth 15% of your grade. So if you get a 0 in all of your participation for the quarter, which might be impossible to do unless you just never show up once, you will get the highest grade you can get is a B because it's worth 15% of your grade. But with that in mind, why don't we take a look at what the participation looks like for this quarter? It's going to be similar to last quarter, but I want to have it more organized and recorded so you can take a look at this whenever you'd like. So if you go into content and underneath the third tab, or excuse me, for you guys wouldn't be able to see this one, but down here under third option, we have a rubric. We can go ahead and open up this rubric. It should open up right away. Let me actually download it and open it up in a new tab here. And so essentially for each of these areas here, you can earn up to 25 points, your level of engagement, listening skills, preparation, your quality of comments. And of course, because I run our class on a bit of a more solo work ethic, some of these are kind of a bit more hard to do. But in general, my policy is that if you show up to class and you're here and you're working, hopefully, or you make some, if you ask a question about anything, or if you're displaying that you're working on stuff, you will probably get the 20 or 15. I usually go on the higher end with the 20s on stuff. Just to make sure that you get some points, depending on how much questions you ask and how engaged you are with some of the material, I will change it. If you want to earn your max amount of participation, so your 100%, you essentially, all you would need to do is, again, if you don't have questions, you don't need to pretend to ask me any. I'll know if you guys are working and stuff. But essentially, if you wanted to earn 25 in each of these sections to earn 100% for your participation that day, you're going to want to show up, be not perfectly on time, but pretty good on the time. Once you show up and you're pretty good on the time, just work on some items, ask any questions that you have, listen to the lecture if you have it, and then the thing that will make sure that you get 100% is submitting the session participation policy item, which we're going to go over next. Once you email that to me, you'll essentially get 100% on your participation rubric because you showed up to class and you went through the lecture and you understand what you need to learn, and that will really help out for your following projects. These participation sessions aren't just busy work I do for you guys. I really want you guys to try working with these tools because you're going to use these tools in your capstones and projects. So it might not seem like it, but I am doing it for you guys. I'm trying to gear it to help out with the work. And I know it's a bit of a pain, but, we all have to do it now. It's another thing that I have to grade too, so everyone's a bit annoyed in some aspects of it. But make sure you do this and we can submit it, and then you'll be able to develop your skill set even further. With that being said, if you're wondering, okay, how will I get 100% participation for a session? What you could do, or not what you could do, what you should do is go to content and then folder for new files edited by instructor. You could take a look at the participation rubric if you'd like, but go to here and there will always be a PDF here, and I will update this. And again, I don't want to keep repeating myself all the time, so in this recording, again, you go to your content, folder for new files, and just read this PDF. If you open up this PDF, you'll see that I have a policy here. Let's see here. And essentially what I'm asking, sorry, I need to reword this a little bit. Essentially what I'm asking here is you go ahead and take a look at each of these and email it to me when you're done. You don't need to follow what I did down here perfectly, but I essentially tell you what we're going to be doing for today's session. So for today's session, we're going to be working with these things called PATs. And then you're going to be using a station JPEG image. You can use other images if you'd like, but I just went ahead and I'm going to assume you're going to use the ones that I work with because they're uploaded and provided to you guys in Moodle. I've bolded the name and I've told everyone where the item is inside of the content. And I'd give an example down here of the original image to the left and what I'm expecting on the right. Essentially, if you could see here, there's a bit of black and white that looks a bit funky around this. And there's also a bit of a hue or saturation on the bin. And we did this using PATs instead of the lasso select that we're used to. We're gonna get into the gritty aspects of that in a bit and talk about the definitions. But essentially, I would say if you want to earn 100% participation for your lecture, when you get here, just go ahead and go to content, take a look at your assessment, see what the assessment for today is by scrolling down. I will have this uploaded and updated before the beginning of each class. And then while I'm doing my lecture, you can literally just watch me do the lecture and then try to follow along. And then after you're done following along with the lecture, you can go ahead and email it. And then that's your participation for today. It should really only take 15-20 minutes, really, depending on how much I talk and if it's a bit tougher than usual. But again, it's not too much sweat off anyone's back, and it earns you a very high grade in the class, like an easy A essentially. So I would say take a look at the participation policy every day. I'm going to reword this a little bit because it's a bit oddly worded, and I'm just going to put my email up there after you've done it. And then for your I'm not picky about titles or subject emails or anything. I'll just check my emails, and if you sent it over, that'll be fine too. Awesome.